is Viper versus Bloodyface. Bloodyface has a Tempo Rogue, Control Warrior, Mid-Range Hunter, and Summoner Mage with the Rogue being banned. Viper with...
And that is going to be the matchup we see in the first round.
All right, well, this happened to be a matchup that when I was playing backstage and watching alongside the matches happening in the previous series, was playing a lot with Hunter Ace. Hunter Ace playing Hunter against the Warriors. We were crushing them. We were undefeated, like 6-0, maybe because Hunter Ace was helping me. But, you know, Viper, he's going to have a lot on his hands because Control Warrior is the public enemy #1 according to the mass populace on the forums, even though Tempo Rogue is also giving it a run for its money.
Yeah, and in this match we see both players banning the Rogues, and we saw Rogue kind of struggle a little bit throughout this tournament so far. I believe it has fairly close to a 50% win rate. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but we saw it pick up a couple of losses before we saw a mirror match decide the last match.
Yeah, actually, lost all 3 of his games the previous series because of Rogue.
Did he? All 3? Okay.
I believe, according to what they dropped
that does sound right to me. Yeah.
So that's definitely something that we didn't expect out of Rogue.
Right.
And I mean, these people choose to ban it. And we'll see if that Control Warrior featuring Archivist Elysiana ends up coming to be a big factor here. Not sure, though, because Viper has the curve. And the most important thing for the Hunter to do in this early matchup is exploit the fact that Warrior does take a little bit of time to get started. Right. And so having the Spring Paw Scavenging Hyena will be really important.
Yeah, and so the way that this Hunter deck works, it does have the mid-range Hunter draws that players became so familiar with in the last rotation of Spring Paw plus Scavenging Hyena. There's no more Dire Mole, there's no more Crackling Razor Maw, but that can still make a big Hyena early on. And more importantly for this particular matchup, it has Dire Frenzy. And we saw Dire Frenzy before. Again, will be used a number of ways. In this particular matchup, you mostly are looking to Dire Frenzy a Tundra Rhino. And then, the Warrior, yes, they can, take the game on forever, and yes, they can, turn into Doctor Boom and rush your minions down. But if you just keep playing minions with charge and smash them in the face, the fact that your minions have rush doesn't actually allow them to survive. They need to have some sort of life gain, and you can put out enough pressure thanks to Zul'jin getting back Unleash the Beasts and things that you can keep up with them in terms of card advantage as well.
This is a very crucial turn. This might look like a relatively normal turn for Hunter, but Viper just saw Town Crier, which he knows that it's a Militia Commander or Ziliac, so now his Scavenging Hyena has a limited time to be able to get pressure in. Would love to trade in here, and Viper was actually criticizing me. He's like, you should always play the Scavenging Hyena against Warrior in turn 2. So I'd be very upset if he didn't play. I'm like, dude, follow your own advice. And it looks like he did.
Yeah, and here, Bloodyface does not have a way to remove this immediately. His deck does not include slams or execute.
Right.
He does have the rush package instead of those which some decks do play.
Double Scavenging Hyena is actually really hard for Hunter to deal with. Oh, sorry, well, Hunter to deal with, but also Warrior to deal with. Any class to deal with, quite frankly.
It's really hard for opponents to deal with.
Right, and I really like this trade from Bloodyface. He's very heads up, knows that the Lynx is in the hand, but more importantly, just like shuts off that second Hyena from getting too big. And of course, the dynamic is if you kill one Hyena, the other gets stronger, and Warrior is really good at single target removal. So this is a very heads-up play here from Bloodyface.
So Viper, he has a couple of options here. He obviously will attack with this Hyena, but does he play... He has the option of playing Timberwolf and the other Scavenging Hyena. So if there is, for instance, a Warpath in the hand, Warpath into Coin Warpath would not clear them because the 1/1 minion would die and keep the Hyenas alive.
Right.
Similarly, it would give him the possibility of just keeping his minions in play against other sort of removal.
Yes.
Like Dynomatic, for instance, I believe triggers the Death Rattle mid battle cry. If I don't, actually no, that one does not.
Well, in this instance, it wouldn't. But I think the thing that he's occupied is the Coin Militia Commander and how that would also play the dynamic. If he does Coin Militia Commander, then the thing that he will snipe is the 3 damage Scavenging Hyena, which means that the Lynx for 2 damage will be able to finish the job. This is a really good map out here from Viper. And again, fairly obvious, but something you just want to think about as all possibilities from your opponent's turn.
And the Weapons Project is pretty good. It does give Bloodyface the ability to punch down the smaller Hyena, or rather even the bigger Hyena, and then kill the other one with the Militia Commander following that up.
That's a massive pickup. I think Weapons Project is one of the best tools for Warrior early on to deal with Hunter. And I think that's like a really good option for Bloodyface to consider if he doesn't choose to go for any of his 4-mana plays. And I think the number one thing I like about Weapons Project in this position is that he can still save the coin for his Dino-Matic, which I think is going to be the big swing on the board, and then shut down Viper's play, force him to either have that Master's Call or to continue the curve.
Right. And Master's Call is really the glue that stitches this deck together. It actually allows you to play so many cheap things. I mean, this deck has 2 Shimmerfly, 2 Springpaw, 2 Timberwolf, and yet is intending to play long games.
Right.
And the reason it can do that is because of the power level of Master's Call in refilling you late in the game. And in particular, your Zul'jin recasts Master's Call late in the game.
Yes.
So once you Dire Frenzy, your Thunder Riders in your deck, and then you play Zul'jin, it's like, okay, you make a bunch more stuff, and then you're getting that out of your deck as well.
So this is a pretty significant whiff here from Viper. He does not want to be reactive with Deadly Shot. The Deadly Shot text, of course, for Viper, if he's not banning things like the Warrior, it has to be able to remove certain big things. Not really going to be useful here.
Viper deep in the tank once again.
So in this position, I think if Viper knows that a Militia Commander or a Ziliax is coming out, he's pretty much in a tough spot no matter what. And I think he has to commit to the board either way. Ziliax is obviously the worst case scenario because it just undoes all the damage that he's able to generate right now. But as a hunter, it is what it is. And I think the nice thing is that he does have Zul'jin, so the game most likely will get to the point where you have a nice Zul'jin. He's going to be looking for Unleash the Beast and Master's Call like you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is definitely that Master's Call, because Viper's hand is pretty situational. He can't really afford to commit this Tundra Rhino just as a tempo play, because his deck only contains 1 copy. There's the Dino-Matic, and we see the entire Battlecry does go off. No growing of the Hyena mid-Battlecry. Hunter's Hatchet is a little bit awkward here because he does already have that weapon from the Weapons Project.
Yeah. Yeah, on Viper's end, he also only has 1 copy of Tundra Rhino. This is fairly important if you know you're going up against Warrior, because Tundra Rhino with Dire Frenzied cheap minions is one of the ways that you can just surprise the Warrior in the late stages of the game.
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of where, like, I Dire Frenzy Timberwolf, and then I play Zul'jin at like Dire Frenzies again, and then all of a sudden I just have like Tundra Rhino plus infinite damage, and I deal like 50 to the Warrior.
Yeah, Tundra Rhino is 100% your most important card in this matchup, because it gives you the ability to even ignore the rush element of Dr. Boom. Your opponent can't just play removal on your minions when you're charging them in the face with them.
All right, well, Bloodyface, he has that Hecklebot primed and ready to go. Thankfully for him, most hunters have been avoiding things like Savannah Highmane in their decks.
Yeah, there's no big threat that Viper can even get out of here. And the biggest minion in the deck is Tundra Rhino, and that's in his hand.
And then the second biggest would be a Vicious Scalehide.
It is literally that everything else is 2 or less. There it is, Vicious Scalehide. Yeah. Oh, what a disaster. Worst case scenario, biggest minion left in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, there's a Timberwolf and a couple of Shimmerflies. I mean, you might think like, well, why are you playing such a lean deck? It's because of the power of Dire Frenzy. There's 2 of them. Oh, what a big pickup here for Viper.
That is huge here. Master's Call going to let Viper reload. And the Shimmerflies are pretty important too, because there are a lot of high-value spells that you can actually hit off of that. Viper also plays 2 copies of Marked Shot.
Yes.
And it may seem relatively innocuous. When I first saw Marked Shot, I was like, I think this card is pretty bad. But it turns out that the Discover effect is very valuable, allowing you to sort of stitch together a situational plan.
Absolutely. I think Mark Shot just has so much utility in terms of what Hunter wants to do, which is win the board and then burst for big damage through the late game. There's so much legitimacy to Mark Shot too. When you play Zul'jin, you're kind of empty on hand. You just clear the board and get more spells. Unleash the Beast puts more Unleash the Beast and 5/5s on the board. It gets pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Zul'jin and the synergy with Zul'jin with all the various spell-based cards is really important. A lot of, when you look at this deck, it looks like, oh, it's mid-range, mid-range hunter, mid-range kind of like aggro-style hunter. It really is much more of a long-game Zul'jin deck in a lot of matchups than anything else. And yeah, Viper taking his time to the rope, but does go with this play that allows him to move the Hecklebot.
Yeah, it's definitely a painful exchange, but totally understandable, because if Ziliax comes down and magnetizes onto that Hecklebot, you're ready to use your Deadly Shot, you're in big trouble. If not, you just lose on the spot. And you don't want to give the opponent the ability to magnetize, which is something that people don't really think about when they look at Hicklebot. They're not thinking about the mech tribe. It's very scary. Do not underestimate it, and that's how Control Warrior makes bounces back. In fact, I one time left the Hecklebot up in the very beginning of the expansion, and then they played, you're going to have to help me here, the card that cleaves as well as a 2-mana spell.
Oh, the Sweeping Strike?
Sweeping Strike. And then they went from like 4 to like
oh my God.
Full. It was just disgusting, and I got blown out.
All right, shield block puts Bloodyface back up to 18. He has taken quite a bit of damage. Viper's early aggression has done the job of ensuring that Bloodyface is not able to stack up a very large health total. And we look at Bloodyface's hands full of removal, right? He's got double Militia Commander, Warpath, Brawl. He's got a lot of ways to deal with Viper sticking a board, but Viper's already used that early aggression to get this damage in, and now he's mostly in the plan of trying to assemble his key endgame combination of that Thunder Rhino plus Dire Frenzy and just pushing damage to the face.
And speaking of which, more damage that Viper has right now. Shimmerfly, Headhunter's Hatchet. I mean, these are cards that he can use to just start pushing a little bit of extra damage so that Bloodyface gets within that range. The tricky part is, what if Bloodyface has just more defensive cards? What if he plays Dr. Boom? Are you just wasting things like Heal Command and Headhunter's Hatchet by hitting the face very aggressively? I don't know if he has much of a choice, though. I think his main concern is, can I get Zul'jin in a reasonable position to win the game? Because a lot of times we've seen Zul'jin be played when you're behind, and it just kind of does nothing.
Well, a big part of that, though, is that what we've seen Zul'jin up against so far this tournament has typically been Bomb Warrior that plays more of a proactive game. If Bloodyface's game here, if his hand here, instead of Elysiana plus this Brewmaster he just drew at a bunch of removal, was a bunch of bomb cards, and he was actually attacking Viper, it's a very different situation.
It's true. Yeah, he's giving Hunter the time, and that's quite possibly why mid-range Hunter just feels very comfortable against Control Warrior. Statistically, it's a 6-4 favorite.
Both these players definitely taking their time, both quite deliberate. Not quite bunny hopper levels deliberate, though. I don't know if we're going to see a 3-hour aggro mirror out of these players.
I don't think so, but Viper is also pretty notorious for roping.
The Viper bunny hopper match from the championship where they met the top 4, I think that may have been longer than the match we had yesterday. Maybe
it's close.
Even longer. But the Viper Jing match yesterday was over 3 hours long. And it was an aggro mirror. Big game Hunter.
That's interesting.
Oh, God, but a baited arrow for Viper coming up the Shimmerfly.
Yeah.
That kills the Big Game Hunter and then some. It's actually particularly ironic, I think, because Bloodyface loved baited arrow when...
yeah. No,
although, interestingly, is this even a good use of baited arrow?
Right.
Because he knows that there are militia commanders in the hand.
Exactly.
I wonder if baited arrow is better off just going to the face.
Well, the nice thing is that you get it also in the pool from the Zul'jin.
That's true.
And Militia Commander also trades. It's not like it's amazing. You're also forcing your opponent to play Militia Commander. They don't get a chance to play Dr. Boom.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. You are forcing their mana.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is correct. But I think it's an interesting scenario because the likely combination of cards in your opponent's hand could include something that largely makes it irrelevant. Maybe you just want to go face with it.
Yeah. And it's definitely better than the Unleash the Beast option because you don't want the 5/5 to 4 to give your opponent too many options to just pick it apart easily. That being said, that Unleash the Beast draw is a massive pickup.
Yeah, it makes Zul'jin so powerful. With Zul'jin recasting the spell with Unleash the Beast, it has Twin Spell. So when Zul'jin casts it, it gives you another copy of Unleash the Beast in your hand as well. So Unleash the Beast is quietly one of the really, really powerful cards for Hunter in the new expansion, in particular due to its combination with Zul'jin, because it is a reactive card that also gives you a proactive board presence when you do play that Zul'jin ultimately.
I wonder if Viper is thinking about more rush minions. I believe Bloodyface may or may not. It's close because I think the Militia Cannons were next to each other, but played the rush that they drew off of Talon Crier. And that's just some of the small things that might give clues on how to best map this out. If he knows that there's more rush minions, he should take the value trade with the 5/5 body so that the rush means double up, right? But if he uses the weapon to train to the 3/2, he's kind of saying, I don't think you have more rush means to battle this 5/5. We're about to find out. And that is good hand tracking here from Viper. And more importantly, he gets to push 2 damage in the face. Maybe that simplifies it a little bit more because he has kill command.
Yeah. I mean, his goal is to kill Bloodyface here. You know, he is trying to, I mean, always your goal, really, in playing a game of Hearthstone.
That is usually how you win.
I always love when people are like, what's this next win condition? And I just like tell them to reduce your opponent's life total to 0. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well, the one deck that seems to go against that game plan is actually
it's true. It's
Control Warrior, which is waits for you to lead the game or for the game to force you to lead.
Run you out of stuff.
Bloodyface in a very awkward position. Nothing proactive, just has to take the damage. And now, next turn, he has Omega Assembly to finally pick up some of those really powerful cards like Omega Destroyer, maybe even a Zilliax.
And Viper here, you know, with the trackings, is in sort of an interesting position because sometimes you don't really want to tracking before Zul'jin because then you lose control over the cards left in your deck. You can't really play with perfect information. And you also put yourself that much closer to fatigue against a deck who is intending to fatigue you. He is going to go with at least 1 tracking, though, try and find some more. Does find Mark Shot and a second Unleash the Beast.
Oh my goodness. The second Unleash the Beast here is really useful.
The second Unleash the Beast lets him put a 5/5 into play, and because it will cast the Twin Spell version, will give him another copy in his hand when he does play Zul'jin.
Yeah, I think I like that
that's
the
what
most.
He takes. Just going to go ahead and fire it off, I think. He wants to set up the Unleash the Beast. He has not yet hit a Dire Frenzy. I think that's also one of the things he's looking for.
I am interested in why he used the one that he drew as opposed to the second.
Because if he plays Zul'jin, he gets an additional copy from that one, not the other one.
Oh, is he planning to play it next turn?
He might.
I was kind of thinking maybe you'd layer that over time, but maybe he doesn't feel like he has enough time to actually play all of his copies of Unleash the Beast.
Ooh, there's Devastator.
Yeah, it's big.
It's powerful, for sure. It allows Bloodyface to fight back on the board. But one big thing we're seeing here is, Bloodyface does not have Dr. Boom. So without Dr. Boom, this Omega Assembly is just, a few minions that have their effect, and then Bloodyface, or rather Viper, can take them down with Unleash the Beast. They don't actually get to attack.
Yeah, and I think this Omega Destroyer dance is going to pull out more to Unleash the Beast here from Viper.
Yeah.
He's going to battle the Wyverns versus the mechs.
Yes. I mean, this is an opportunity. Viper can play the Zul'jin. There's a deadly shot there. Ooh, there's the Dire Frenzy. So, yep, we're going to see Tundra Rhino plus Dire Frenzy.
That's exactly what he's looking for.
And this is the entire plan in this matchup. You want to Tundra Rhino, you want to Dire Frenzy it. Then, every time you play a Beast, you get to potentially throw it into your opponent's face when you play an extra 5 mana for a 5/8 Charger.
Right. Yeah.
So if this doesn't die, it will die. But even if it, if Viper's able to just draw another one, then okay, well, I'll follow this up with some Timberwolves, and maybe I Dire Frenzy some Timberwolves, and suddenly I'm charging you for 20 damage in a single turn. It makes every single card that he has that much more threatening, even if Bloodyface does find his Dr. Boom, because he won't be able to rush them down before they get to attack his face.
All your minions have rush. Well, all my minions have charge. Your turn. Bloodyface does have that answer to the Mega Destroyer, but the problems are just beginning here. Yeah, there's not many clean ways to even remove this either. I'm trying to see if any alternative besides the Omega Destroyer, but it's looking like it's leaning towards it.
Yeah, Omega Devastator here will allow him to take this out and still have himself a board.
Yeah, the nice thing is that he has tempo now.
Right.
I mean, he has actually pretty significant tempo if he just develops.
I mean, he does right now.
I think he is scared about the prospect of a counter swing if he develops too much into it with Unleash the Hounds. Unleash the Hounds double kill command.
Well, there's the Thunder Rhino draw. That is 5, 12, just 12, and there's 15 life for Bloodyface. Zul'jin here will give him
There's 2 Unleash the Beast.
2 Unleash the Beast.
There's a Dire Frenzy.
There's a Dire Frenzy, depending on the order he hits these. Tracking. There's a Master's Call as well. Well, there's Dire Frenzy. All right, so Vader to the face is pretty big.
Geez.
One of these is getting Dire Frenzied. Deadly Shot goes off. And it even hits the Ethereum Rover, so there's no armor gain for Bloodyface. Master's Call. Let's pick up an 8/8 rush for 5. That's 13 from hand with just the Wyvern and the Thunder Rhino next turn, and this board is left.
Yes. Ziliak's nice pickup, but it's just nice. It's not. It's not what Bloodyface needed exactly. He can clear everything with the Warpath hero power, but is he dead if he just does that?
He is at 13 and go to 15. Wyvern plus Thunder Rhino is 13, and there's another Thunder Rhino in the hand. But we see here, this game, how it has played out. This is why the Hunter deck is such a strong favorite over Control Warrior in particular.
Yeah, I kind of wonder how important it was for Bloodyface to even just have that lack of proactive game plan here. And it turns out it's extremely important because he's not able to actually present any threat, and it doesn't like he's going to run the Hunter out of resources anytime soon.
Oh, no. No, Viper's not running out of resources. He still has a Dire Frenzy in his hands. I mean, he's attacking for 2 damage off lethal next turn. Thunder Rhino plus Wyvern, 13U. Yep. And Viper's not one to typically make these snap plays, but this is a pretty clear one. I will bring you down to 1 life, your turn, and look at my hand.
Bloodyface has some pretty decent life gain with the Demolisher and Ziliax and the Weapons Project, but that seems like it's delaying the inevitable. And if he goes for a Hail Mary, say a Town Crier Brawl, he goes up, and let's say he wins that, he might still be dead anyways to a follow-up Thunder Rhino push.
I mean, there's even the axe throw from Zul'jin here, so even if he were able to say Ziliax attack into a guy, brawl, win the brawl with Ziliax.
I mean, yeah, he needs this.
He needs this. He needs to win the brawl and then play Weapon Project's hero power. He did not win the brawl. He is dead. Yeah. And, we see with a relatively aggressive opening, but more importantly, just the pressure that he's able to layer repeatedly late in the game, thanks to Dire Frenzy. There are players who say that they think he may be the best player in the world. And we heard in his initial piece, he doesn't practice with other top players. He practices with himself.
Yep.
He uses the borrow a deck feature on Hearthstone to open up 2 copies of Hearthstone on his computer and play through matchups by himself.
Yeah, and it actually started because he couldn't find good practice partners. Right. A lot of people were waiting for rotation, like most people who were playing Hearthstone. And so Bloodyface like, well, helping me practice for the World Champs is a very narrow thing. Like everyone else is invested in playing qualifiers for Las Vegas, for example, and that's a completely different format. Who wants to help this guy play Conquest? So Bloodyface decides, create another account, borrow his own decks, and play. And he said, you know what, this is actually more efficient testing.
Yeah.
And since then, he's kind of just been a one-man show, and I respect that a lot because, when you see players who practice with a bunch of people, it feels difficult to just credit just them. It's like a group of people won that event. But Bloodyface, when he wins, it feels like, he earned it himself.
Yeah, and he is here in game number 2 with the Hunter deck, very similar to the Hunter deck that Viper just played against him. Similar sort of plan with the Zul'jin, Dire Frenzy, Unleash the Beast top end, as well as the low end of all of these 1-drops, plus Hyena, Hatchet, etc.
Yeah, and this is a good matchup for his Zoo Warlock.
Just gonna say, a very different matchup, though. The last matchup we saw was one where Bloodyface was hoping to take the game very long with the Control Warrior deck, and Viper was able to exploit that. This is a matchup where the Zoo deck is looking to come out very quickly, and it can end up running you over before your sort of big cards can come into play.
Yep, that's right. Speaking of big cards, of course, Archvillage from.
Very controversial card.
Yeah, very controversial card, but I'm definitely a fan of shenanigans, and I think we saw some last series. I'd like to see some this series,
That
too.
Timberwolf is a very interesting draw from Bloodyface. Double Timberwolf here allows him to just trade an individual Spring Paw with his Crystallizer, and that's pretty huge, because this 1/3 is normally a very difficult card for him to deal with these 1-drops, and this gives him a Lynx in hand that can kill another 3-power minion,
right?
Or 3 health minion rather.
Yeah. Although the caveat to that is Viper is playing, you know, a list that I think a lot of people were lashing onto at the beginning of the expansion, having Archvillain and From, having 2 Soulfires. And the reason why people were starting to push out Soulfires was how powerful Magic Carpet was to win back the board. A lot of times Soulfire, yes, it was good direct damage to the face, but you just want to keep protecting your small minions. Yeah. You don't really need that if you have Magic Carpet, and yet, you know, Viper and Bunny Hopper are still choosing to go for that double Soulfire. Do you like that?
I think that Soulfire, you know, also just gives you a little bit of extra reach, which can come in very handy. It depends on the matchups that you're trying to, you're really trying to beat, because sometimes you really just need a little bit more oomph. And speaking of oomph, that's a Scavenging Hyena Lynx turn that is possible for Bloodyface, but it would require him trading off multiple minions into 1/1s. It would only give him a 4 health Hyena, which is vulnerable to that Soulfire.
Yeah. No, it's one of those weird things where because you're playing very passively onto the board, and you know how clutch is this stealth?
It really is.
Because there's not a lot of positive interaction on this board for Bloodyface, his best bet is actually just to ignore the board, but then that plays directly into Viper's hand, assuming that he has appropriate answers for it.
Yeah, Bloodyface, you know, his most powerful draw in this matchup in general is Unleash the Hounds. And it's particularly powerful with the Scavenging Hyena. So I will suspect, okay, he's actually just going to go and play the Hyena and just push with all the damage to the face. Not going to take any kind of trade whatsoever. He's going to force Viper's hand here. Magic Carpet is the draw, but it's pretty weak against the board that Bloodyface has assembled.
Yeah, and the downside, of course, for Viper is that without direct hand buffs, or sorry, minion buffs in his hand, such as Direwolf Alpha or Abusive Sergeant, this doesn't exactly spell a very ideal turn for Viper either.
Yeah, and you know, Viper looks like he's going to play Flame Imp into Soulfire is his plan here.
I think that's the right call. You have to stop this Scavenging Hyena and the Timberwolves from running away with the game.
And he hopes to... oh, that's not good.
That stinks.
And he wants to... Yes, okay. So for Viper's perspective, at least, he got the buff on the Imp. If you got the buff on the Egg, that could actually be actively detrimental, because the egg ending up getting the buff means that it's harder for him to get itself killed with a Abusive Sergeant. The Unleash the Hounds could be powerful here. It does decide to just fire off the kill command.
Yeah, I was thinking about popping the egg and Unleash the Hounds and what implications that leads to.
Another Flame Imp, and this is one of the dangers of.
Oh my goodness!
And Direwolf Alpha is a really powerful draw here.
Wait. No, hold on. It sets up a big board for Unleash the Hounds to destroy.
It does. Well, he can Direwolf Alpha and at least just kill the Timberwolf if he wants to, which means that the Direwolf Alpha doesn't die on board.
Yeah. All right, I buy it.
It is, you know, obviously against Unleash, this has the potential to be disastrous. If you use your Direwolf Alpha, attack into the 2-power minion, get your egg killed, then Unleash the Hounds runs you over.
It's true. This looks tempting to pop the egg, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It does. It absolutely does. You know, from Viper's perspective, you know, was there an opportunity to play Unleash prior to this? If you know, it was that card in Bloodyface's hand.
Yeah.
He's gonna go ahead and pop it. And I think from Viper's perspective too, you know, he needs to do this, even if you know, he can't give Bloodyface just as much time to draw Unleash to, you know, just continue to be able to pressure him. And even if he does have Unleash, does Bloodyface need to clear here? You know, Bloodyface doesn't have enough damage to actually just end the game at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He's attacking for, what, 8, 9, 10, 11? Puts Viper to 7.
I like that.
Yeah, it might be good enough, because, but you know, Viper doesn't have Grim Rally, but Bloodyface has to at least think about the possibility of what happens if he does.
Yeah, one kill command was used, though, so it's not like he could spray it. But
I would
nice
expect
thing
to at least see the Direwolf Alpha die.
Yeah, I like Direwolf Alpha die and then, like, face with everything else. I want to put pressure on the Zoo Warlock's life total, mainly to shut off their hero power possibilities.
Yeah.
That's a nice pickup.
Woodwalker is a very good draw, and you know, these Scarabs will be able to at least take out the Timberwolf.
Yeah, but you're fighting a losing battle.
It's true.
So Viper, so his outs, so to speak.
Flame Imp really hurts here.
Flame Imp puts him in a position where he just dies the turn he plays Rafam, because he's just 3 hero powers away.
Right.
And he can't end the game fast enough. So Flame Imp feels like it's just going to be an extra card for Rafam.
Get in there, fight, maggot.
He's got to buff it. Really kill that wolf.
Oh yeah, overkill. Unfortunately, no overkill stats on the Scarab.
Yeah, Viper wants a legendary off that imp.
Yeah.
Ooh, hog speed. Oh yeah. Snipe. All right. Well, Thunder Rhino is quite powerful. He can play the Thunder Rhino and clear off this board, which leaves Thunder Rhino. Well, he doesn't need to clear the board necessarily.
I like those weaving in of hero powers.
Yeah,
Next turn
okay.
you can Thunder Rhino hero power as well.
That's true. You get to use your hero power. You get to clear this anyway.
Yep.
Still end up with presence to the board and get the snipe down.
I think Viper plays his Witchwood Imp and then does nothing. Goes to show you just the importance of things like Magic Carpet to help stabilize the board. That snipe goes down, and Viper's just defenseless. Viper's dead.
Yep.
The turn he plays for Fom. I don't know if there's one thing to bail him out. There's no heal. We ditched the Voodoo Doctor a long time ago when Happy Ghoul rotated out.
And,
Absolute steamroll.
Hunter picking up some quick wins for both players here.
Against Roger. Here we go. Mage versus Mage. Oh, this matchup can get real degenerate sometimes if it becomes, one player having Mountain Giant, one player does not.
Yeah. I mean, the most important card in this matchup is actually that one that Bloodyface has in his opening hand, Book of Specters. Book of Specters is what these decks are built around, and it's a big part of the reason why I feel like a lot of the versions that we've seen, or at least saw early on, that play Power of Creation were generally making mistakes. Because I think Power of Creation is a card that pulls against your Book of Specters, which is just what your deck is built around. You can't play your Mountain Giants early if you don't have Book of Specters, or at least, sit there and play only cards that don't fill your hand, and then just naturally play it, on turn 5 going first, turn 4 going second, which doesn't give you a very good game against most decks.
Right.
But I feel like in this mirror match, Viper's build looks to me like it ought to have an edge. He is playing 2 copies of Voodoo Doll where Bloodyface has none. So he has the ability to remove big minions like Mountain Giant. Also, he has 2 copies of Arcane Keysmith, the 4-cost minion that discovers a secret. And that can be very powerful in a number of situations, whether you hit a, let's say a Spellbender for your opponent's Conjurer's Calling, that can be disastrous for them. Or even hit just a mirror entity. There's not very many small minions that you can play in a lot of, you can afford to play in a lot of circumstances. Ooh. Well, the second Book of Specters is very good that you can't actually play it here without discarding. I probably have more games played with Book of Specters Maze than anyone else in the world, considering I played it all last year, so I know all the flashpoints.
Well,
before it was cool.
He does have his Conjurer's Calling. Is Bloodyface playing any other spells besides that one additional copy? So now he's going to pretty much...
Wow, he's going to play it.
All but guarantee that he has a full hand.
Yeah, playing this here, you will overdraw. Unless you hit your other...
Conjurer's Calling?
Your other Conjurer's Calling,
which
right?
you don't really want
Right.
to do because it's so good. And either way, you do get to play the Mountain Giant on 4.
Right.
So it's something that Bloodyface is considering.
Okay, he's going. He's playing it. He does hit the other Conjurer's Calling. So I
How
guess...
did he do that?
I guess he's not going to overdraw.
That was amazing.
I have to wonder, was this specifically because, he wants to... I mean, obviously, getting that mana out of the way and playing the spell is valuable if you are not wasting a resource. If this is if it is a matchup that is more based on tempo, which I believe this is,
I think so. I think he's fishing for maybe a specific card.
Yeah, he could be looking for Khadgar. Khadgar obviously gives you extremely powerful options alongside Book of Specters.
Yeah, because it makes sense if you play Giant on 4, Khadgar, Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah, Viper does overdraw from his Book of Specters, and now this is kind of a test for Viper. Do I want to just use my Voodoo Doll plus coin to kill this here? If I do not, and my opponent has Conjurer's Calling, then I may have lost my opportunity to deal with it. However, I just saw a Conjurer's Calling get hit off of a Book of Specters. Does that mean that I think that Bloodyface is less likely to have Conjurer's Calling in his hand because there's only a single copy remaining? And if he does use his coin here, does he fall too far behind?
Oh, you're right. And I think that that greed here from Viper, which is very warranted. Might end up being a huge punish. The nice thing, though, is because the Twilight Drake will survive.
Well, interestingly, Viper has Khadgar. So Viper has Khadgar calling for 4 drops against just a calling for 12 drops.
Sure.
So, you know,
it's a lot worse.
It is, but, you know, is Bloodyface a situation where he wants to just leave this up and go for his Conjure's Calling here? He could remove it. He could, you know, use, say, Zilliax here.
Yeah, Zilliax protects him.
Yeah, I would expect we're going to see the calling. If you do, there's 2 more Giants. And now I would expect what we see from Viper, because it's really the only thing that I think can open the claw him back into this, is the Khadgar into calling for a bunch more stuff. I mean, he could, you know, use that Voodoo Doll here, but he's again facing Conjure's Calling.
Right.
Khadgar plus Calling, you know, uses this 4-drop with only 1 health left.
Yeah, the twin spell aspect of Conjure's Calling is really backbreaking this position.
Yeah, you know that no matter what, your opponent can do it again next turn. And you also, also if you do Khadgar plus Calling, you could get MC Teched and Conjure's Calling next turn.
Jeez. I think Viper already feels like he's so far behind, and we're kind of talking about how volatile this matchup can be. It just reminds me of the Handlock days, where it was like Mountain Giant. All right, I'm just gonna try to avoid it. Oh, I faceless my Giant and push, or if I cube my Giant and push.
Yeah,
these are just the really big punishes in the matchup.
I think he's going for it. I think he's like, okay, I need something.
Oh, I think he got a Houndmaster Shaw.
No. Oh, he did. He did.
Are you serious?
Kill one of them. Okay. All right.
And he burns his Khadgar. What is happening?
Okay. Well. So I mean, I think Bloodyface has to kill Houndmaster Shaw. Houndmaster Shaw is way too devastating to leave on the board, because it means that Voodoo Doll just kills yourself for 3 mana. You can play Voodoo Doll, rush it into something else. You know, I don't think that just attack into Conjure's Calling is a reasonable option for Bloodyface here.
Right.
He's gonna, okay.
Well, he said you just had difficulty clearing 1 of these Giants, let alone 2, or both of these Giants. I'm going to put them again.
Oh my God.
Okay. This game
Mountain
is
Giant for Viper. He can Mountain Giant attack, Conjure's Caller Mountain Giant, clear the entire board. This is crazy. Oh my God. This is just so explosive back and forth.
Yeah, you don't have to watch the Avengers movie anymore. You just got all the action you ever needed. This is the Hearthstone I like to see.
It's like the opposite of the Thanos snap. We just double everything in play. We just double it. Back and forth.
Balanced, as all things should be.
I mean, I think that Bloodyface is going to very much regret not clearing that Houndmaster Shaw #2.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, at this point, I don't even know what to expect. I just want both players to draw nonstop Deathwings at this point.
Well, I mean, from Bloodyface's perspective now, how do you get back on this board? This is now a Houndmaster Shaw protected by a 7/8 taunt. It's a 7/8. You can't crowd roaster that.
You can crowd roast the 3/3.
Yeah, and then there's just the 7/8, and then your opponent gets to deal with your 7/4 and just have a massive tempo advantage.
The thing is, if he went for the clear on the Houndmaster Shaw, he would not get the Conjurer's Calling on the Mountain Giant opportunity anymore either, because then there's the Voodoo Doll rule.
Right.
So it was kind of a weird checkmate scenario for Bloodyface. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's true. It is true.
And maybe Viper saw that line and he was able to go for that Gambit, which, if that's what ends up panning out, that is brilliant. And if not, then he is one gambling man.
Yeah, look at this Voodoo Doll off the Houndmaster Shaw.
And the rush.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Look at this. Like, Houndmaster Shaw is so insane when both players just have a bunch of minions.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the decision to leave Houndmaster Shaw up may have just been a serious error for Bloodyface here, because it is just not a card that you can beat if your opponent has a reasonable hand. If your opponent has anything, your decks are very similar, right? And if you have similar sorts of things you're each doing, the person who just gets to attack first, it's like you're playing against your, against another warrior, and they have Dr. Boom and you don't.
Yeah, and right now Bloodyface can play 2 Scale Worms.
Yeah.
To clear the board.
And kill 1 minion.
I think that might be his best course of option to survive. He doesn't have a good mind control tech play because there's 3 minions. Ziliax here is very weak. And the nice thing about Houndmaster Shaw, the nice thing about playing against Houndmaster Shaw is it's still only rush. It's like Dr. Boom. You don't have to worry about your minions getting value traded constantly, which is what's happening.
Time runs out on me. What to do?
And Viper too. He's consolidating his board to 3 minions. He's playing around this MC tech. Is there really a way for Bloodyface to get back in this?
I think the double Scale Worm has to come down here.
Yeah.
It's all defense from this point on.
You can't play defense against a Houndmaster Shaw. You can't. You just can't get any foothold in the board as long as the card's in play.
It is not fair to say the least when you get the Houndmaster Shaw and you get all the initiative. I mean, we're talking about how Dr. Boom Mad Genius is great. Now you get a minion that gets to attack and keep that buff.
Unless you kill it, you gotta kill it.
Well, you could kill it. Viper has potential ways to even just like cement the game 100%. If Fire Tree Witch Doctor picks up Burn. And he's weighing all of his options, and I like it. He's not rushing into things. He's thinking, okay, what are some possible ways that I lose from this spot because I'm so far ahead?
I feel like the Astromancer play is weighing on his mind in terms of I don't want to possibly get MC teched. If he gets MC Tech, say, takes Houndmaster Shaw, then another big minion can come down and possibly clear off the rest of his board.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something that Viper is worrying about here, and I think we may just see a single minion come down for that reason.
Unity. Precision.
Yeah, I like it. He still sets up lethal. With a moment's hesitation, considers all the possibilities. He also knows that Bloodyface doesn't have Conjurer's Calling himself anymore because the second one got burned from the Book of Specters. Right. Therefore, he can't abuse that and then go for Mind Control Tech.
Rabble Bouncer, not a great defense.
I think Bloodyface might be just cornered here. The Rabble Bouncer plus Ziliax, I guess, is his best defense. That seems so bad.
I mean, there's no way to defend yourself with taunts against Houndmaster Shaw. I keep saying it, but it's just true. Because, as long as your opponent just gets to play big things that can attack right away,
okay,
you're just going to get killed.
But the alternative is to remove minions, and he can't remove enough. And Viper was calculating for the crowd roaster and things like, other removal tools. There's going to be 7 damage no matter how Bloodyface cuts it. He has to play taunts.
Yep.
And the nice thing, I guess, is that Ziliax at least gains life.
King Ziliax does keep him alive. Goes
so he thinks until Fire Tree Witch Doctor does something about that to maybe add damage to end the game. Fire Tree Witch Doctor can discover any burn spell. Not any burn spell, because Ziliax gains life. It can discover Fireball. Cinderstorm will also do the trick.
Well, Fireball won't actually end the game, right? He's at 10. And then the life steal of Ziliax.
Yeah, so the Fire Tree Witch Doctor trades in, and then you Fireball.
It's the third. Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, I was briefly forgetting about the rush.
After you were talking about that so much. I was
like, wait, what?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the point is that Bloodyface is in desperation mode, and Viper, I mean, honestly, this Astromancer might be able to pick up like a charge minion and end the game.
I feel like right now Viper's just trying to avoid disaster. I feel like he is in a absolutely dominant position.
Yeah.
And he has any number of ways that he can try and win from here. He's just trying to figure out, what is least susceptible to disaster.
My calculations are flawless.
Oh, okay.
That works too.
And now he's like, I'm going to make a board that, I'm not vulnerable anymore.
How are you going to do Shaw like that, man, after he was so good to you?
I know. He just came to hang out.
Heartless.
You did him dirty like that, just threw him to his death. He could have easily survived.
And now, Bloodyface, I think he's completely cornered. He's got nothing. If he plays Rabble Rouncer, he can't play the Crowd Roaster.
I wonder.
I don't see any way for him to get out of this game. At least not alive.
Arena's full. Beat it.
And I think with that, is that enough with the Dragon Maw Scorcher?
Yeah. Dragon Maw Scorcher.
Looks like it's going to be it.
And
that was an explosive game. And Kibler, it is so appropriate that we're in a basketball stadium because I just watched a game of NBA Jam in Hearthstone.
He's on fire.
I mean, he had
a weak card, but it can give you this sort of backdoor out against warrior decks when the rest of your deck just wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, well, we'll cross that bridge if we get to that point. We'll see if Viper can get to that Archville from if he even needs it. For now, I mean, these are some spicy opening hands.
Yeah, they are.
Calling, Mountain Giant, Dragons, Synergy, Magic Carpet. With the Passenger that is, Knife Jugglers with Magic Carpet is just, Aladdin Jasmine.
Man, I think this is a very reasonable opportunity for both players to keep their hands if they want. Like, I don't know exactly what they're looking for. Yeah, Viper's like, okay, look good. 1, 2, 3.
This looks good.
Bloodyface. All right. Well, I mean, Bloodyface, I think, is in a different position because Bloodyface may need to find sort of more defensive tools, but. The Giant is great in a lot of matchups. This is not necessarily one of them.
Yeah, I think he wants the Rabble Rouncers. He wants Massey Heart, just things that help impact the board immediately. Because the Giant's most likely going to want to trade into minions.
Yeah, one of the things playing the Book of Spectre's Mage decks, you see those hands where you're like, ooh, I have Mountain Giant and stuff that can get me to a Mountain Giant by turn 4 against a aggressive deck, and it may seem good, but it almost is always going to end up with you losing because you just didn't do enough and they hit you in the face. If he'd had perhaps Sunfear Protector in there, maybe you keep that sort of giant hand, but Bloodyface decides to go full on, try and find his tech cards, and does find MC Tech alongside 2 copies of Sunfear Protector, but nothing else to go along with him just yet.
Yeah.
Wow, coining out a Sunfury here. He wants to get the board right away.
And there's actually a question I wanted to ask you real quick. You didn't even coin out Sunfury Protector because he doesn't have anything to use that Sunfury with.
It's true.
So it feels like you might as well just use it to combat River Crocodile mode.
Yep. And specifically, Viper's version of Zoo, just the general version of Zoo you see now, is very, very board-centric. It's very much about building out a board, buffing that board with Grim Rally and such, which, leads to Bloodyface wanting to sort of chip away at that if he can right away.
Right.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and second Sunfury Protector. Let's go.
I like it.
I mean, he even can use the Conjurer's Calling, right? Ooh, and there's your
yes. Yes. I want to see some shenanigans. Please make it happen.
It may seem, a little bit silly here, but, Viper or Bloodyface could, just kill something with this 2-drop and Conjurer's Calling it next turn if he doesn't have a good opportunity to use something else.
Right, and in Viper's mind, maybe that's what gives him the idea to just triple trade.
And he also has Magic Carpet against a deck that he knows has 2 Mind Control decks.
Yeah.
So I think that we may see exactly that. We may actually see attack, and then attack with the Witchwood Imp and buff the Magic Carpet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Buff the Magic... Is that like Puff the Magic Dragon? Buff the Magic Carpet.
No. Oh, man, that's another parody song for you and Natalie to make, won't it be? Oh.
Okay, well, he's gonna leave it up.
Hedge.
Yeah, a little bit of a hedge here. Doesn't want to leave himself vulnerable to the Mind Control tech. And, this is an opportunity. Bloodyface doesn't have great use for this mana. I mean, he could ping. He could attack, then ping, but he does leave himself... I guess with the Magic Carpet down, the 2-drops also just become way less appealing. Right, so Conjurer's Calling into 2 2/2s, well, they just die to 1-drops out of your opponent's hands. They're probably not really worth it.
That's really scary, but I'm hard-pressed to find a better use of Conjurer's Calling as the game continues to develop.
I mean, I wonder if Bloodyface actually just wants to attack the carpet.
Yeah.
Get it down.
For the Scale Worm to kill it next turn?
Yep. No, he's going to go with the Conjurer's Calling.
I like it.
Gets a 2/2 and a 2/3. And
how
here,
appropriate is a River Crocodile?
And Viper, he finds a Flame Whip. If he finds another 1-drop here, this is particularly powerful.
Yeah, I mean, Viper doesn't have that many 2-mana minions.
I mean, these decks are pretty much, what, over half 1-drops?
Yep. This is actually a fairly similar position as we saw in the previous series with Zoo Warlock, and Viper in the backstage was encouraging a tap. It was like Knife Juggler off curve, or it was like tap for a 1-drop. And I remember he was like trying to talk about like you got to tap for that 1-drop to win it. It was a different matchup entirely, of course, with different context.
Right.
It's just one of those interesting things where I'm curious to see what he does. I do like the idea of like tapping into it though, because it doesn't seem like Knife Juggler here is particularly impactful versus a 1-drop that you get is a huge payoff.
Yep, gonna tap, finds another Juggler. So this he can get, yeah, he's gonna go ahead and buff up this Carpet, keep it out of range of the Scale Worm, crucially.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate for Viper.
This is powerful, but he's going to the middle turns of the game without really much threat, right? You know, this is an opportunity for Bloodyface. Can you just Scale Worm this anyway, put it to 1.
Right.
And that means that the Dragonmaw Scorcher can come down and kill the Carpet next turn.
Right. Yeah, Bloodyface drawing double back-to-back dragons to give himself a solid game plan.
Yeah. And Scale Worm is pretty poor overall in this matchup because it is, you know, a deck full of so many small minions. You're not really getting, you know, value true to the Scale Worm into a 3-drop. The 3-drop in this deck is Magic Carpet.
I'm trying to think of an alternative if Bloodyface chooses to go for Twilight Drake instead, but I think the more you analyze it, the more I kind of like Scale Worm.
Yeah, I feel like getting the Carpet off the board is really important. He's not going to, though. He's going to go ahead and just play the Twilight Drake. And I think that maybe the thought process here is, well, I didn't see any 1-drops last turn.
Exactly. Viper floated a mana, which means that he's missing 1-drops.
Right. So, you know, maybe that means that this Carpet isn't a big threat and that you know, I have the ability to...
That's actually a very, very astute observation.
Yeah.
I wasn't really thinking about that. Viper can punish, though, if he taps into a 1-drop and gets Direwolf Alpha with the buff. But it's not really that big of a deal for Bloodyface because he's able to respond back with Scale Worm or Dragonmaw Scorcher. That was actually a very good spot by Bloodyface, the more I think about it. Because if Viper doesn't pick up that 1-drop that he needs, then he's stuck either playing 2-2-1, which Magic Carp doesn't have that big of an effect, or he has to life tap again. And that means that Viper is fighting a losing battle because card for card, Bloodyface's deck goes better toe-to-toe than Viper's cards.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, certainly the more it is in Bloodyface's favor because he just gets to spend a bunch of mana doing very powerful things each turn, whereas Viper, you know, he's tapping and, you know, hoping to find things that are sufficiently impactful. But a lot of his stuff is not that high impact. All right, no life tap this turn.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Viper so far.
Huh. Well, once again, you know, Viper playing around, well, doesn't have an opportunity to play another thing, but keeping his board to 3 against the deck with double MC tech.
This is just loading up the board with, like, maximum threats. Like,
Right.
Bloodyface would love to Scale Worm all 3 of these things down.
To do.
Can only choose a couple, though.
Bloodyface can kill the wolf or the Knife Juggler and Conjure's Calling this, but his Conjure's Calling is going to get an average similarly sized minions, so I think he may hold on to that. He can also just kill both the Juggler and the Direwolf Alpha by attacking and using the Scale Worm.
Right.
Again, like, not many big things for Scale Worm in this matchup.
Yeah. I think killing the...
Oh, okay. This turn he's going to go ahead and hit the Carpet.
Oh, wow. Woo, I don't know. When you come up on 6 and they can tap into double 1s.
There's a Soulfire. Huh. That's actually kind of interesting because Soulfire... I don't know if you want to be discarding your Refam. maybe you need to be Refaming.
At this point, I feel like Refam would be your win condition because you're so far behind you can play it on curve. So if anything, Viper might just play Knife Juggler Flame Imp, get maximum juggles, ideally get the trades,
right,
and then Refam, and then once you Refam, Magic Carpet can be free to go because you don't really have 1-drops.
I don't even 1-drops in my deck. What am I going to play? A Chameleos?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is that the only 1-mana legendary in the rotation right now?
I think it is.
Like Shifter's Errors left a long time ago.
Yeah, I think those are the only 2 in Hearthstone other than Patches.
So many.
Oh,
think of those
please
3.
do not remind me of that.
He didn't cost 1, he got 0.
Yeah.
Let's be real. All right, well, we're going to see Juggler into the imp. One goes
That's
face.
not a juggle he wants.
Ooh, face again.
Okay, ends up panning out.
Yep.
Actually, in the ideal scenario, yes, I want to see some Reform action. On the backside, Bloodyface being limited by the single dragon means he can't play Dragon Ball Scorcher for a little bit of time.
Well, he
can clear, though.
The Scale Worm draw means he can just Scale Worm ping.
Yeah.
So he can clear this entire board. He could just choose to play Fire Tree, but I think that, look like he's actually debating it. He's like, well, you didn't have another one that turn.
Yeah, he's like struggling at his one drop. So he's like thinking, what does he have?
What are the cards that make sense to be in your hand if they're not one drops?
And if it is Reform, the Fire Tree Witch Doctor gets himself ahead of it so that he can trade into Reform the next turn.
Yeah.
There's merit.
Ooh.
Solarium is
it's actually
interesting.
Because next turn you can Solarium and Reform.
Right. And like increase your hand size significantly.
I don't know that you can wait.
But you still have 2 legendaries to play, and legendaries are fairly expensive right now.
Yeah, I feel like, and we see Viper thinking about it.
I'm not sure if I like waiting here.
I think that's the only card that you could draw that would really make you think. But I feel like you just give your opponent the turn to play a 7-drop. Your opponent can just play Astromancer, and then you're just behind, and Reform isn't good. Yeah, I feel like you'd have to have such an incredibly powerful... You have to have, like, Talanji and a bunch of big things.
You know what it is?
And then you just lose to MC Tech.
You know what it is? The hypnosis of Solarium
really
Golden
is.
Animation is what's throwing him off. He's like,
All right, it is the arch villain Reform.
Woo! I like that.
Heistburn Togwaggle, not so good if you don't have the ability to generate any lackeys, and I don't believe there's a legendary way to do so.
Yeah. Well, still, the point is that he's going to have pretty big things to play. I just like that, there's Malygos, and I don't think there's ways even to easily generate spells, though.
All right, what do you need? What do we need here? You can't get, like, Rodent.
Like Ysera? Ysera gives him stuff to use with Malygos.
Ooh, an egg. That's actually insane with Conjure's Calling. You can Calling that away.
Oh, wow.
You can get yourself an 8/8 and 2 5-drops.
I was thinking Ziliax, but Conjure's Calling is, like, super good with it.
Yeah. That's actually sick.
Sure. Yeah, because you don't have to worry about... Well... Yeah, you don't have to worry about the fact that he can't attack.
All right. Hexler Malacras.
Hey!
Whoa!
He gets a lot of card draw all of a sudden.
What did he have in his opening hand?
He had a 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop.
But, but he loses... I mean, Heistburn, Togwaggle, and Malagos are both pretty weak. Malacras is probably good.
It gives him a Knife Juggler. It gives him a Crystallizer.
Are Knife Juggler, Crystallizer, and Magic Carbon even good here? I mean, this is your best tempo play, is Hexler Malacras anyway.
Oh, the gang's back together again.
All right, well, I mean, hit him in the face.
That's some damage.
It's a lot of damage,
chunky.
There's a Book of Specters.
This game got really weird.
Yeah, all right. We're going to see the Book of Specters, of course. Crowd Roaster, not enough mana. Mountain Giant, powerful, but...
It's funny how Masuhara is not going to be effective against a deck full of legendaries.
Oh, Blizzard and Code of Cold are both very powerful when your opponent is spending a bunch of mana playing big things.
Yeah, I like Freeze. I don't think Power Creation is very viable now.
Yeah, I like the cheap Freeze here for sure.
And I do like that
Power of Creation on the egg, or rather Conjure Throat. There's an 8/8.
Oh no! Wait.
All right. Well, that's a 4/1. Gunk. Okay, now we need Jiraxis. Gunk Jiraxis. Just smash through everything.
What? Hit the Robos.
Well, we can see... Oh, he's going to tap. All right. Face Collector. Right, so many legendaries, so little time.
I feel like I'm watching an old Total Biscuit video right now. Oh, if he lands this juggle on the 4/1, though.
Yeah, he's got the rush regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And he gets to push to 5 face damage. 15. He's at... Yeah, there's 15 showing on the board.
I feel like he almost just has to go face. Like, what's he going to do, right?
Okay,
like,
he can draw Jan'alai and then go for the Ragnaros finish. Wait, is that lethal?
15, he has 15, 16, 17, 18. That's lethal. Just
I think the Baron is a
Baron getting the damage to face is lethal.
This is such a weird game.
This was pretty bizarre. We've had some crazy stuff happen in these Kajir mage decks.
All right.
I'm happy we're seeing a game 5. Because we're going to hopefully see another Rafam, and maybe someday Rafam will win a game.
Well, according to Viper and
True,
Hearthstone World Championship.
A lot of fans out here in the crowd, a lot of fans hanging out, meeting some players, playing some Hearthstone, and I hear we're actually sold out for the weekend. So
yes,
looking forward to that crowd. But now looking forward to this game because we have Warrior, Control Warrior from Bloodyface up against the Zoo Warlock from Viper. And this one can be rough for the Warlock deck.
Yes, it is an abysmal win rate. 30% win rate for Zoo Warlock. That's almost as bad as it gets for any of Zoo's other matchups. In fact, I think if you look it up, it is its worst matchup.
And I think this is a big part of why Bunny Hopper and Viper chose to include that Archvillain Rafam in their deck, because they wanted to have some action for this matchup, some way that they can fight back and turn all the kind of weak cards they have into something powerful.
This is a pretty good start though for Viper.
It is.
He's gotten the Ethereal and Cobalt Lackey, 2 highest impact ones.
Yeah.
I'm also looking at Magic Carpet to potentially do some make some big waves here. Dude, what if Hecklebot pulls out Arch Thief for Fom? Are you like happy or sad as Bloodyface? Probably sad because there's a 7-8 on the board.
Right, I think it depends when it happens, right?
But then he has a Brawl. Yo, look at this. Shield Slam on a 2-2.
I mean, think about it though. This is a matchup where there aren't really big minions. This is not even the Sea Giant version of the deck, right?
Right.
So you just kind of want to get some of the minions off the board. Your shield is going to get worse as the game goes on and you're taking damage. It's going to be hard to use effectively. And I think that just looking at the way Bloodface wants to sequence his turns, he's going to be playing the Militia Commander next turn, probably a Militia Commander Super Collider the turn after that, unless he needs to brawl. So, just preventing that damage is his priority here.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Shield Slam, like you said, gets worse, so why not use it to stop damage that he inevitably needs to remove anyways?
A lot of people, they don't want to use what seem to be premium removal on small minions, but that I think is one of the things that you need to pay attention to when you're playing a controlling Warlock deck. You're not necessarily just looking to hit all the premium targets. You are often just looking to stay alive so you have enough time to leverage your powerful removal effects.
Bloodyface has the Militia Commander but can't snipe the 1/6 minion just yet. Hecklebot into a Zilliax. That's something that he'll be looking for, but it's pretty idealistic to think that Hecklebot will survive if you leave up Magic Carpet.
Yeah, there's just the carpet in play means that that's what Bloodyface has to deal with. There's no way that you win with taunt against a rush minion. That's what we talked about with the Houndmaster Shah that came down, and he decides, okay, well I'm gonna try to take down the carpet, defend the gates. And now just a bunch of 1/1s in play, but some of those 1/1s in hand can get real nasty with that carpet.
Right. I kind of wonder if Viper wants to invest also in a Knife Juggler in this position, but he is coming up on the Dynamatics and the Brawl turns.
Right.
And that is something that he has to account for. So no matter what, he wants to keep his health on the board above 5, but he also doesn't want to extend too far forward.
Yeah, actually trying to partition your threats against Control Warrior can be so difficult because they have so many different types of removal that demand different things. When you're trying to beat Brawl, it's like, okay, I don't want to have too much on the board. Trying to beat Dynamatic, it's like, well, I need to have more on the board. Trying to beat Super Cloud, you're like, well, I have to have things on the board, but they have to be in the right places and the right sizes.
Yeah, I think Viper might just go with Crystallizer and the Cobalt Lackey is the maximum amount. Oh, actually, Witchwood Imp is a lot of health too because it's plus health.
Yeah.
Works well. The nice juggle. Go for another one with Crystallizer to max.
Doesn't have much time to do much else.
Okay. So he's good against Dynamatic.
Yep.
Still has vulnerability to Brawl, obviously, but still has kept a lot of his power in his hand.
And now he also has 2 minions that Bloodyface kind of wants to get rid of as soon as possible in the form of the Carpet and the Knife Juggler. Carpet is less of an issue if he's not trying to play, say, Hecklebot. Ooh, the Super Collider, though, does let him kill both of them because of the way that Viper positioned.
Oh.
And I wonder if this was an oversight
wow.
from Viper here. Perhaps he could have positioned that somewhat differently.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And not left his two sort of most impactful minions vulnerable to that.
Oh my goodness. That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's part of what it's talking about. There's so many different things you kind of have to keep in mind with respect to how do I actually divide my threats out over turns. How do I put my minions on the board? What minions do I put on the board?
Right.
And when there's so many different things that you're trying to consider, it can be difficult.
Interesting.
Plot twist, Dark Possession. Plot twist is kind of interesting because maybe you think, okay, what I really need is Rafam. Right? Maybe that's your thought process. Maybe you take Plot Twist and just life tap this turn.
Right, and
then plan to life tap Plot Twist next turn to try and find Rafam. Give yourself the most looks at it.
Yep. Consequently, your opponent's also keeping cards.
Right.
So you're messing up their disruption tools that they want to ideally line up. Dark Possession is a way to activate Scarabeg.
Yes. True. That's what he takes. I like the looks for Rafam myself, but
yeah. Does he want to put Scarabeg in a position where it can die, or does he want to keep it resilient to make it better against AoE?
It looks like he's trying to rectify the positioning last turn and say, okay, now Knife Juggler's next to something with 0 attack. That's not going to work.
Unless that's what he wants, and then he brawls. So if he attacked Knife Juggler and then it splits the egg, and then he brawls, and Viper's back at square one.
Yeah, right now on this board, there's no Super Collider attacks that kill 2 things.
What now?
Because you can't attack into a 1/1. It'll die first, so the 1/1s won't attack other 1/1s.
Does he feel like he has to do anything special? Like, what if he just Militia Commander pass? I think the threat of Grim Rally.
Yeah, Grim Rally is just terrifying here. You can't really leave this much up. I do feel like attacking into the juggler and then brawling looks pretty appealing here, at least. Bloodyface disagrees. It's going to be Militia Commander.
I mean, if he's going this and he's not respecting Grim Rally, he can just attack a minion.
Yeah, it's true. No, he doesn't necessarily need to...
right. And he has Weapons Project to keep the weapons going.
There's Grim Rally.
And now the Dark Possession Grim Rally setups.
Yeah.
What demon he can really get? Dude, Duraxis. Oh, yes.
The problem is Dark Possession into Grim Rally does leave him still vulnerable to Brawl. He gets some damage in. But,
that's fair.
This isn't really a burst-based deck. You can't find Doomguard off that Dark Possession anymore since it was sent to the Hall of Fame.
That's fair.
He could even Direwolf Abusive attack and then just Grim Rally.
Yes. And Grim Rally, the Abusive Sergeant.
Send it to the face.
Yeah, like forget trying to make the Super Collider not kill anything, just pressure. I like it. You just see how devastating Grim Rally can be.
Yeah.
That's a strong board. He has to brawl that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a must brawl, and there's a Dark Possession and Kobold Lackey in the hand. Lackey's 2 damage at least.
So he has a Super Collider attack and then the brawl. There's no way for Viper to really play around that.
Right. Super Collider can definitely kill the egg, get the brawl off, but the brawl's going to leave very likely a sizable minion on the board. It's a 50-50 as to whether it leaves a 3-power minion or 1 or Bloody Faces.
Right. He can remove a 3/2 if he doesn't want to give that 1 out of 8 chance that the Militia Commander survives.
And I think it's better. You're giving your opponent 1 fewer good outcome, but you don't give yourself the just miracle outcome.
So less than 50% of the time, a 3-attack minion survives versus 12.5% of the time, the 2/3 survives. I think I'll take the 3 times the more likely outcome. And it does matter. We know that Viper plays a Soulfire deck. You need to minimize the damage stat.
And Bloodyface does not have much time to make that decision now.
Almost to the point where Bloodyface might attack, brawl, and then Weapons Project. Oh, Ziliax.
Precision.
Okay.
All right, he's just picking this apart. He's not going to brawl.
Interesting. Saving onto that brawl. Did he get the damage in?
This Kobo Lackey is going to kill the Ziliax. Magic
Oh my
Carpet.
goodness.
Okay.
So tap, unless Viper wants to Dark Possession first, and then gets to see the Demon option, but then he can't life tap unless... no, he can't life tap successfully and play that card. But we'll see what comes out of Demon. The Demon pool.
Felguard, Pitlord, Succubus. I feel like Pitlord has to be your option here.
It's
yeah.
just the meatiest.
Right. And there's 3 damage on the board. You can Lackey, Magic Carpet into Lackey.
Yep. Push 3 damage. Put him down to 7. Bloodyface does have the Weapons Project and does have taunts in the way through Ziliax.
Ooh, this is interesting. Do you want to push the 1 damage, or do you want to get this off the board?
It's a tough position. This could be what makes or breaks the game.
Yeah.
That extra damage is so crucial, but you're not going to be able to get rid of this Militia Commander.
Harrison Jones. Weapon Project plus Harrison Jones is powerful, but it's not really something that looks like Bloodyface has time for.
I'm thinking about what Towncrier can really also pull, but I mean, he already uses Ziliax.
What now?
Yeah, and now he does still have this brawl, but he doesn't have any way to get rid of the egg.
You can Weapons
before
Project
he brawls. Yes, yes. That's true.
So
and he can play. So he's gonna Harrison.
That belongs in
Okay.
museum.
yeah,
Going for the card draw here. So we got the 13. All right.
And he's a Shield Slam.
Is such a big draw here for Bloodyface.
I think that's what he was fishing for.
It absolutely must be. He finds exactly what he needs and is able to take down so much of Viper's threats here.
Yeah. It may look like, oh, Bloodyface just happened to go for it, but he's calculating his odds in this position.
Yeah.
And he still wasn't dead.
Right.
If it didn't pan out because he was at a safe 13 life.
At 11 now.
Although, if it was a Soulfire tap Soulfire, oh man.
There's 3 on the board. Direwolf Alpha makes it 4-5. Grim Rally.
Some big damage.
6-7.
That's good.
That could put Bloodyface down to 4 life.
Yeah. There's also the Pit Lord setup too.
Yeah.
So if you like Mecharoo, Pit Lord, and then Grim Rally, push 5 damage instead, you put your opponent down to 7 life. The Pit Lord's at a 6-7, which is kind of meaty, but you're coming up. Actually, no, it's only 9 mana still, so they can't make a Devastator. I actually like this.
No, I agree. Yeah, looking at this, you're not actually getting lethal here.
I like this. And then if the big Scarab survives, you're able to use that without to push a little bit extra damage.
5 damage comes in. 6 life for Bloodyface. Big board for Viper. Up.
The trade here is actually fairly important.
So this specifically is to protect the Pit Lord. So Bloodyface can kill off the egg.
Okay, is it time to brawl?
Brawl.
The brawl has a legitimate case to it with, actually the Hecklebot.
Well, he can brawl and then play Hecklebot if he needs to, is the thing.
And the chances are he's going to pull a weak minion.
Right. There's only Rafam for really big things in the deck. Everything else is 1, 2, or 3 cost.
A Razor's Edge. He's not trying to even lose any single bit of life. He's going to brawl. And if the Pit Lord survives.
Be a big deal. Nope. Pit Lord is not the winner. It is
average result.
After all the abuse that Lackey took from his evil overlord.
That damage is relevant too, because now Soulfire lethal is a possibility still if it's runner.
The Hecklebot here is going to kill it first.
Oh, the Hecklebot could have such a big punch to the Rafam.
Okay.
Viper's looking for Rafam
Got
or the
himself a
Soulfires.
1-2.
Or Solarium.
Solarium! That is big. I wonder though if Viper may have the thought process of I want to hold the Solarium.
Oh, we're going for it, Gambler. 2 Soulfires.
Going deep.
One of them.
Only 1 Soulfire here. That is not enough to end the game.
But he can play his hand.
Yeah, he can play every single card here, and Bloodyface just used his Brawl.
Right. And he just needs one of these minions to stick for damage so that he can Soulfire again off the top. If any of these minions stick, that's all he needs.
3 life for Bloodyface, but now 10 mana. That means Omega Devastator. That means Omega Assembly.
Omega Assembly is huge because it could get him lifesteal minions or armor minions.
There's another Brawl, too. But if he brawls...
If he brawls and loses,
yeah,
he can just remove with the Omega Devastator, but he's not gaining life. That's the big problem.
Bloodyface has Hecklebot, and he has the Big Game Hunter, so he can Hecklebot into Big Game Hunter if he does hit Rafam.
But he's still dead to
but Rafam, it's true. If he hits anything but Rafam...
Face me, you inept ingrate.
It's Rafam! Okay, well, that's the best Rafam's been all day.
Yeah, he's going to shut it down, but he's able to gain life. Here's the thing, though. Viper has a big board. Did he play both Grim Rallies? Yes.
5 life for Bloodyface, just out of range of
Soulfire.
That's
Off the top!
But it's not enough. The Hecklebot means he's 1 off.
He used both jugglers as well.
If he can find Evil Genius. Flame Imp comes down, Soulfire into the Hecklebot. Allows him to chip away. Take the Hecklebot down.
He's going for gold. 1 damage of lethal. Shield block draw for Bloodyface. That is a huge draw.
6 life now from the brink of death. Dinomatic! That will wipe out Viper's entire board. Rafam is gone. He got taunted. Subtle was backstage telling him how terrible he was. He came out to fight him with the Hecklebot. There's no miracles waiting in Viper's deck. And Bloodyface completes the comeback from 1 life.
Bloodyface takes the series in a comeback position.